Okay, Mr. Hult, I understand that train wreck verbs are a combination of AR, ER, IR verbs. I understand that they have no accents and they're very, very irregular, and that there are a whole lot of them. But how do I know which verbs become train wreck verbs in the past tense? Is there something you can tell me? Well, yes, I'm glad you asked. So here's the question. Which verbs become train wreck verbs in the past tense? Well, there are two times. Number one, irregular present tense verbs with a G in the yo form, like tengo, pongo, vengo, digo, ago, trigo. All of those become train wreck verbs in the past tense. Again, if the verb is irregular in the present tense and it has a G in the yo form, like tango, it's going to be a train wreck verb in the preterite. So, tener turns into tuve. Tener turns into tuve. Poner turns into puse. Poner turns into puse. Venir turns into vine. Venir turns into vine. Decir turns into dije. Decir turns into dije. Hacer turns into hice. Hacer turns into hice. Querer turns into traje. Querer turns into traje. So is that it? Is it just the verbs with G's in the yo form that become train wreck verbs? Nope. There's a second group. Okay, the second group is a cluster of irregular present tense verbs that also become train wreck verbs in the past. Now here's a sentence that helps you remember what all those verbs are. Okay, here's the sentence. I want you to know that walking or driving or being on train tracks produces accidents. Let me say that again. This sentence has the other irregular verbs that become train wreck verbs in the past tense. I want you to know that walking or driving or being on train tracks produces accidents. To want turns into quise. To want turns into quise. To know turns into supe. To know turns into supe. Andar turns into anduve. Andar turns into anduve. To drive turns into conduje. To drive turns into conduje. To be turns into estuve. To be turns into estuve. To produce turns into produje. Produce turns into produje. So, those are the verbs that become train wreck verbs. If it's an irregular verb that has a G in the present tense, it turns into a train wreck verb in the past. And if it's one of these verbs, to want, to know, to walk, to drive, to be, or to produce, it also turns into a train wreck verb in the past tense.